Die media het hulle the Dagga Couple gedoop, maar Julian Stobbs en Myrtle Clarke se stryd om kannabis wettig te maak, word deur baie érnstig opgeneem. Na hulle in Augustus 2010 vir besit van kannabis aangekla is, het 'n ingewikkelde hofstryd vir hulle begin. Die paartjie het 'n tydjie terug die regering gedagvaar, aangesien hulle voel dis hulle reg om die middel te gebruik. Met veral onlangse ontwikkelinge in Amerika met Colorado en Washington se pro-cannabis wetgewing, wil dit voorkom asof die gesindheid teenoor die omstrede plant aan die verander is. Of is dit? Welkom Julian and Myrtle, thank you so much for joining us. So, tell us about why you think constitutionally you have a right to use cannabis or weed.
Well, the main misconceptions about the plant are rooted in the law itself. The 1992 Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act states that Dagga is a dangerous dependence-producing substance with no medicinal application whatsoever. And that is why we are suing 7 government departments, because that statement is completely wrong. We are testimony, the two of us, we are testimony to the fact that it does not harm us. In fact, it enriches our lives. And over the last 3 years, we have also learned that it has incredible therapeutic qualities, particularly for a lot of very serious diseases. And it also has lots of industrial applications, everything from food to fuel and fiber.
Okay, so you guys had a raid on your home in 2010, Julian. You've had a lot of legal battles since. Just maybe give us a broad overview of what you've been through.
Well, very quickly, it took us a long time to decide what to do, because this is not an easy undertaking. It's changed our lives completely. The police were very heavy-handed with us, and we decided to take it to the highest court in the land, because if you think about it, whatever you think about Dagga or not, it is your constitutional right to put whatever you want in your body. How can that be controlled by anybody else? Whether it's good for you or bad for you. So that's why we're doing it, because my body is my sovereign territory, and I am sick to death of governments telling me what I can and cannot do with it. And that is the crux of our human rights challenge. And we have set a precedent in South African law. We are now in the High Court in Pretoria, and we will see you one day on the steps of the Constitutional Court in South Africa.
So you're feeling very positive about the outcome of your case?
We have to all the time. We take a beating. It's a very emotive subject. Some days we're invincible, and other days we just don't go out.
And what is the main negative responses you get, and how do you answer to people's the most frequent questions?
The main misconception is that Dagga is a drug. Okay, now it could be described as a drug in terms of its therapeutic qualities, in terms of its health benefits, because other pharmaceutical substances are called drugs. But on the other hand, it's actually a plant. It's a natural substance, and how can you legislate against a plant? So that's the main misconception. And as the police said when they were in our home, drugs is drugs, and it gets lumped together with all of the other extremely harmful drugs out there on the street. And we find it very difficult to even find statistics for Dagga, because drugs is drugs, and it gets put together with heroin and tick and that type of thing.
You mentioned harmful, and that's obviously a word that to many different people mean many different things. How does the harmful potential of something like cannabis compare to that of cigarettes or alcohol?
Oh, don't go there. 40,000 people died in 2011 due to tobacco inhalation, but it's legal and it's regulated. And the plant that I choose to use in the evenings to relax with has never killed anybody in the 5,000 years of human use. So I don't get it, and that's why we're doing it as well. I have used this plant for 33 years, all the way around the world. I consider myself an expert on the subject, and I want to find out why it is illegal for me to ingest it when it doesn't do me any harm.
What's interesting about this is that there are countries where it is legal, there are states where it is legal. Are you presenting any evidence showing that in other societies this happens and it has no serious negative side effects for greater society?
Yes, we certainly are. We are busy with getting all of our expert witnesses together for our High Court case, which will be in March 2015. And easily half of those experts will come from overseas. states, from various European countries, and then obviously some from the United States as well. So we're going to be presenting incredibly compelling evidence when we eventually get to the High Court. And I think we'll just have to wait and see then.
What's interesting is that your petition is growing quite a bit. Tell us about how do you fund a big undertaking like this, and how many people are supporting you so far?
The funding is the bane of our life. Throughout history, big civil actions like this fail because of a lack of funding. It is costing us in and around 300,000 rand a year at the moment to do this, and we've had to give up our day jobs because this is a full-time operation. So show us the money. If we had the money, I think it's a foregone conclusion. But every day we battle, and every day we go out there looking for more money, for more donors.
So you maintain the main obstacle is not the money, well, is not people's perceptions and the negative
perceptions
reactions.
are changing dramatically. Even in a reasonably conservative country like South Africa, the tide is turning. And when we show people publications of the state of society in a place like Portugal that decriminalised all drugs 10 years ago, all addiction rates are down at least 50%, because we firmly believe that if you take away this forbidden fruit syndrome, people will stop using cannabis. Really, really. And in half a generation it will normalise anyway. Most of the people that do cannabis, Dagga, in high school are doing it just to get on their parents' nerves mostly.
Tell us about the NGO you launched.
Yes, I'd just like to come back to what you mentioned about the petition. We now have just close on 13,000 signatures on our petition, and these are certified with South African ID numbers so that we can use this petition once we are out of the courts and we go to Parliament, because that's where they actually change the law. We also have a considerable following on Twitter, and we have nearly 22,000 people on Facebook.
Okay. So that's where people can get more information about it.
People can get more information, and we've just launched South Africa's first cannabis non-profit company, and this is so that we can, again, spread awareness like we are doing already, but also raise funds.
Okay, this is very interesting, and I hope it gets some discussion going among those who are opposed and for it. Yes, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Indien jy meer wil uitvind oor Julian en Myrtle se doenighede, besoek gerus www.daggacouple.co.za of dan fieldsofgreenforall.org.za. Laat ons gerus ook op Facebook weet hoe jy voel oor die wettiging van Dagga, of dan nie.